Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition, a major championship edition of the Raw Prospect Podcast. My name is Michael Ween. Thank you guys for tuning in here Monday evening, May 13th, 5:34 p.m., the week of the 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla. We have our preview and our player pool draft, as always, for every major championship here tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and check out all of our other content here on the Raw Prospect Podcast YouTube channel. With all that being said, let's jump right into this thing and let me welcome in fellow golfer and my excellent co-host, Mr. Emmy Nixon. What's up?
Nothing much, man. I'm excited for this episode. The PGA Championship. Last time he was at Valhalla, Rory McIlroy was able to take it. Of course, last week Rory McIlroy led into this event by winning by 6 shots with a 63 in the final round. So I'm excited to talk it up, and let's get into this thing.
Let's talk some storylines before we get into our player draft. And we can kick it off with Rory since you kicked it off there. I think it's one of the more intriguing storylines of this entire tournament just because of the symmetry here. Exactly 10 years since he won this exact event. Basically, the PGA Championship was at a different time in the calendar back then, but you get what I'm saying. 10 years at this exact event, at this exact course. And he comes in just like he did in 2014, winning the week before the tournament. There's a lot of symmetry here that makes this very intriguing. To me, the big storyline for me, and then I'll let you add on to this. There are three guys that I view above the rest. I've got 3 guys against the field. I'd say there are probably like 8 or 9 guys that could probably realistically win this tournament when it's all said and done. But I view 3 guys as above the rest, and they've all come into this tournament with their last event being a victory. Those guys are Scottie Scheffler, who hasn't played in a couple weeks, waiting the birth of his child, but he will return this week. And his last event that he played in, of course, was a victory. We all know about Rory McIlroy, who won the Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow, an event that he's owned in his career. I think that was his 4th career victory at Quail Hollow. What a duel that was on Sunday between him and Xander Schauffele. And then Brooks Koepka, who's the defending champion and has always played very, very well at the PGA Championship. And he's looking to defend his title once again. I think it's those 3 guys as kind of in a 3-horse race. And then you get into other guys that you'll see in Tier 1 once we begin our draft. The Xander Schauffele's of the world, the Ludwig Aubers of the world. There are other guys that can win this tournament, but those 3 guys are the ones that I'm really focused in on.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, honestly. I think Rory is just going to be same as it's always been. Just get the putter going, and he's got to get off to a good start too. I think for him to feel comfortable, I think he's got to get out to an early lead and lead overnight rather than be tied or be behind. The majors that he won early in his career, he got out to 3-4 shot leads going into Sunday and was able to close it out. So if he were to win this week, it would have to be something similar, I think.
I'm going to kind of say the quiet part out loud that nobody is really talking about yet because it might be a little bit early, but and this, again, still seems a bit incomprehensible to some people given the way modern golf is structured and how competitive the sport has become with as much young talent that the sport is saturated with right now. This could be hard to grasp for some people, but I legitimately think a Scotty Slam is realistic with as well as he's playing and as well as he's ball striking right now. He won the Masters. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts. Of course, he comes in as the immense favorite. And if he continues to play this way in majors especially, I think it's on the table. It might not happen, but it's something, especially if he wins this week, that everyone's going to start talking about. If you look at how impressive he's been in not only the run of wins this year, but the startling record he's starting to build at major championships, as you know, but pointing out to people who may not. In his last 15 attempts at majors since the start of 2020, he has 1 missed cut. All other 14 starts, he's finished within the top 25, and 10 of those 14 starts were top 10 finishes, including 2 victories. And he leads the field in those 15 events in strokes gained tee to green. With as well as he's been playing, it's something that we're just going to throw out into the ether for now and see. It's a wait and see kind of thing, but it's something, keep in the back of your mind. Like it's one of those storylines that could grow even bigger when we're doing this episode a month from now, previewing the U.S. Open. And then Brooks Koepka, I think he's looking to really enter a different stratosphere. He's 34 years old. He has 5 major championships. Since 1980, only one golfer has won 6 majors by the age of 34. And you might know who that is, Tiger Woods. And so that's something that Brooks could accomplish. I think he's second or third in the betting odds that we're going to take a look at for our player pool draft. But with his record at the PGA Championship and in these kinds of setups, he's looking to enter rarefied air. Rory's going for, what would it be, his 5th, and Brooks is going for his 6th. And so those guys are really going for what would be another level and another notch on their already fantastic careers. And then there's always going to be the LIV storyline until noted otherwise, right? I mean, Jon Rahm is, along with Brooks Koepka, are the big faces there, but there are other guys too that could easily be in contention this week. Ludwig Aubert, to me, is the really interesting one. He's quickly become, I think, I don't want to say, do you think he's become like a household name yet? I don't know if we can go that far.
Among more diehard golf fans, I think he has. I think he's well on his way. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. And his debut at Augusta National really helped that. He has all the gifts, though. He's a mega talent, and he could easily break through this week. And so, are there any other storylines aside from playing out Valhalla? Rory has a chance to, 10 years after winning his last one at the same course, at the same event, in the same circumstance, after winning the week previous, to win his 5th major. I guess the other big storyline would be this is Spieth's opportunity to potentially complete the career Grand Slam. I don't know what attempt this is, but it's another attempt at doing that. So that would be the other big storyline to, I think, the more casual golf crowd. But with all that being said, I think we can just, unless you have anything.
There is one other thing that I kind of wanted to mention, just I'm getting really tired of this whole split golf landscape thing. The winner circle on the PGA Tour right now is like 2 golfers, 3 golfers. And a lot of that I think has to do with Live Golf and them taking a lot of stars over to their tour and the guys like Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas that stuck around, they haven't really held up their end of the bargain. They haven't played as well as they have in past years. And I think it's really hurting the sport now, man. I watched this elevated event where, we're supposed to have, 15 of the top guys, all playing well at the same time. John Rahm, all those guys that ended up on Live, all playing in these tournaments, and it's just not the same right now.
Do you have the odds pulled up?
I made a graphic for tier 1 and tier 2.
Okay.
That I'm going to share my screen.
Now, have we decided how we were going to run this? Because we know you won the competition from the Masters as you had Scotty Scheffler as your pick. Have we decided who's getting first pick today? Is it going to be you again since you won the last time, or is it me? Are we switching off? How are you going to run this particular draft?
I think we'll go probably snake. We'll go with, I think, a 3-shot penalty for if your player misses the cut. Overall combined score over the 4 days. We'll go 5 tiers, 1 wild card pick. Anything else I'm missing?
Okay, but I was asking who gets first pick.
Oh, well, I was just gonna flip a coin for that.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that then.
Or actually,
and get started.
I guess since I won last time, I'll just choose. I think I would rather have the second pick. So, you're up. Go ahead and take a stab at it.
Well, I don't have to take a stab at this one because there's one guy right now in the game of golf everyone's chasing, and it's Scotty Scheffler. And if I have to die on the hill with the best player in the world after not having him for the Masters, I'm going to do it. I don't really have to reiterate what I just went on a tangent about, but won 4 of his past 5 starts. He tied for second in the one that he did not win. Now, the knock against him coming into this tournament is that he hasn't played a competitive round since April 21st. So it's been, what is that, three-ish weeks since he's played a competitive round. But then again, I don't worry about that all that much. He tied for second at last year's PGA at Oak Hill. He's the best ball striker in the world right now. As long as he can stay out of trouble this week, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't at least be in contention in the last couple of groups on Sunday with a chance to win. So no really need to go further than that. I'm interested to see who you go with because you're left with all the rest. And I think there are 5 guys here that are excellent picks.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for this pick, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to take Rory. I think there's a pretty good chance that the winner comes out of one of these first 2 picks, man. I feel pretty good about that. I think both of these guys are going to be in contention come Sunday. And I just hope we see a duel, man. I want to see a duel for the ages. That's just I'm hoping we get a close tournament that comes down to the final hole. That's all I want.
All right, let's go to tier 2.
All right. Okay, so tier 2, my second pick, I'm going to take Cam Smith. He's been a little bit up and down in his time with Liv, but I think the improvements that he's made to his swing are starting to take effect. He's been a little bit more consistent this season. He's shortened his swing, made it a little bit more compact and a little bit less wasted movement. And that's led to a lot more consistency. He's gotten rid of that nasty hook that he had often come up. And with that, he's hitting more greens, he's hitting more fairways. He's not having to rely on his short game. Because obviously there's times where you're going to have your B plus game, B to C game, and you're not going to hit the ball as well. But on those days, you want to still be able to have a baseline of ball striking and be able to hit, 10, 11 greens on your bad days. And with the short game that he has, now that he's at this point with his swing, I think he's in a really good spot to try and get his second major.
Yeah, with as good as he putts, like he's always, I think, going to be in contention at these kind of events. He's got the driver. For me, I've had a guy in mind, though I just didn't know the order. But he's still available here, so I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take Wyndham Clark as my second pick. Now he did miss the cut at the Masters. I understand that he had an unbelievable start to his season, missed the cut at the Masters, but I think he's part of the outright winner conversation just because of his ability to complement his power with his world-class touch around the greens. I think he can contend. And I think everyone knows that. He's just been really good since May of last year. He's got 3 PGA Tour victories. He ranks top 10 on tour in driving distance, which bodes really well for this week as long as it's going to play, and strokes gained putting. He's top 10 in that category as well. I think that's a potent combination. And his length off the tee, again, will be really valuable at this particular golf course, just like pretty much all the other guys we've talked about so far. And so I just like his game. I'm gonna go Wyndham Clark.
Yeah, and I really like this pick also because he's able to work the ball both ways now. We saw that U.S. Open. He was working that kind of big fade pretty much every single hole. And now that he's able to kind of work it both ways, you're seeing him kind of like there was an adjustment period with, him getting used to having that to his disposal. But now that he's kind of gotten used to things, it's definitely helped his game quite a bit this season. So really good pick there. Now I'm going to go ahead and share the original website here. 1 second. There we go. All right. So now your pick for tier 3.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take a look at this.
Sorry. Sorry. Is there a way to? No.
So we've got Dustin Johnson.
I'm going to change it back. Sorry.
We've got Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, and Tyrrell Hatton all at 60-1. We've got Minwoo Lee, Sungjae Im, and Ben On in that next trio. Then you got Matt Fitzpatrick, Sahith Theegala, Tony Finau. Goodness. Let me see. I think
Why is it not working? What the heck?
I'm between a couple of guys for this. I could see, if Sahith Theegala tightens up his work around the greens this week, he could be easily a sleeper candidate to lift a Wanamaker on Sunday. because the rest of his game is just so good. Tyrrell Hatton is an interesting case. You know, he finished top 15, or he has finished top 15 in each of the past 2 PGA championships, including a tie for 15th last year at Oak Hill. Finau is good. Like, he's a top 10 machine with majors. Or he was. He's kind of struggling with his game, though, right now. Burns has missed the cut in 3 of his past 4 starts in majors. But he's too good, really, not to break through at some point, although his form's not been great lately. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take Sahith Theegala. I think his game is primed to potentially break out at a course like this. He just has to tighten some things up around the greens, and I think he could at least be in the top 25, a guy that makes the cut and helps my overall score.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a really solid pick. For my pick, for me, I'm between Ben On or Byung-hun On as it's put there on the screen, or Sungjae Im. Both finished in the top 5 this past week at in Greensboro. So for those 2 players, they're both really good ball strikers, and as of late have been putting the ball much better, especially Ben On, which is why I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Ben On. He's gone to the broomstick putter, kind of a chest putter, except he doesn't quite anchor it. And since he's switched to that, his putting statistics have been night and day different. It's been a really good change for him, and I expect him to be somewhere, within the top 20 come Sunday.
Yeah, he has 8 top 25 finishes in his last 13 starts, playing really well as of late. So, really good pick there. Let's move on to tier 4.
All right.
And you're up.
All right. So, tier 4 for me. Yeah, this is where you just kind of go with gut feel. So, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go with Akshay Bhatia, making his first start in the PGA Championship. He's been a rookie on tour. I really like his swing. That's really why I would go with him in this spot. Once you get down here to these odds, 150 to 1, 100 to 1, it's like take your pick of the litter and just kind of hope you pick the right guy. And for me, I think him being a rookie on tour, there is some risk to this pick. The fact that he hasn't played this course in a PGA Tour event up to this point. So that's the risk, but I still think he's a good enough player to be able to overcome that.
Okay, let me look at the list. I like that pick, though. Let's see. Let's see. Who's the top of the list? Shane Lowry?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What's been going on with Sepp Straka as of lately? Trying to find my
He's hanging around top 20 in the world. He's been pretty consistent. Russell Henley's been playing well this year.
Yeah, I'm really between. I think I went with Corey Connors in our last draft. I'm between Russell Henley and Sepp Straka. I think I went Tom Kim in our last draft as well. Taylor Gooch is an interesting one, just because he's been playing well on the Live Tour. It's just I don't know, like what really what real kind of form his game is in. I'm going Sepp Straka. It's just a gut feel. I think he's on the verge of winning something at some point.
Yeah, he's
He,
always in the mix.
he's finished top 16 or better in 3 of his past 4 starts in majors. He was tied for 7th at the PGA last year at Oak Hill. And his form's been pretty good and consistent the last 2 months, as you said. So I'll go Sepp Straka. And then for my 5th and not final pick, but final regular pick until we get to our
So
wild card.
you have all of tier 5 and tier 6 available to you. So just so you know, I'm gonna zoom out so you can see both.
Okay. Well, I don't think I need tier 6. I was planning on just using tier 5, but
Fair enough.
yeah, that should be good. The top of tier 6 might be interesting. There are some interesting names here. Like Patrick Reed, surprisingly, has been a better major player than you probably think if you're a casual. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he's been good in his past. Like he's up there, I think. When I was looking at the stats, let me see where did I see it? Let's see. Since January 1st, 2018, Patrick Reed is 10th in strokes gained at majors behind Scheffler, Zalatoris, McIlroy, Rahm, Koepka, Morikawa, Schauffele, Hovland, and Dustin Johnson. So he's been solid in the majors. Denny McCarthy's an interesting name. Steven Yeager is actually a really interesting name. I was listening to a podcast last night where they mentioned how well he's been playing lately. But this is really scatter shooting. What are the names at the top? I can't see.
So Alex Noren, Dean Burmester, Nikolai Hogard, Patrick Reed, Ricky Fowler, all at 150 to 1, then 170 to 1. Denny McCarthy, Stefan Yeager, Tiger Woods, Cam Davis, and Christian Bezadenhut at 200 to 1. And then top of tier 6, Keith Mitchell and Billy Horschel.
Yeah. I'm going to go with, Keith Mitchell. He's at least made the cut in 3 straight PGA Championship starts. And for a tier 5, tier 6 pick, that might not be a bad way to go. Just a guy that can make the cut.
Yeah.
A UGA alum.
Alex Noren, really good ball striker. I love his swing.
Nikolai Hogard was a guy who had a great showing at the Masters, tied for 16th.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I'll go Keith Mitchell, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. I actually have a specific pick in mind for this one. I'm going to take Billy Horschel.
Good pick.
So Billy hasn't been playing as much on the PGA Tour as of late. He took a job as the assistant coach for Florida's golf team, University of Florida's golf team, his alma mater. So because of that, he hasn't been playing as often on tour, but made a start a couple weeks ago at the Puerto Rico Open, won that tournament. I think he was down by 4 or 5 shots going into the final round, dropped to 62 in the final round in windy conditions. I think his odds and his world rank, I think, are really, really like good odds compared to his actual form he's playing with right now and the caliber of player that he actually is.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's refresh here. Make sure I got all these picks. I need a refresher on yours because I haven't been writing them down. You picked Rory, Cam Smith.
Rory, Cam Smith,
Ben On.
Mm-hmm. Then Akshay Bhatia, and then Billy Horschel.
Okay, and then I went with Scheffler, Clark, Thagala, Mitchell, and who was my tier 4? I
Did you
went
go
with
with
Straka.
Straka, yeah.
Okay. So I picked first. So I think the way this works is you would get first dibs on the wild card. And
Right.
so you can go ahead and make your wild card pick.
I'm gonna take Max Homa. I think what he showed at the Masters, he's still trying to figure out how to put it all together for 4 days. Of course, he's um, you know been in the mix now, and that experience really matters. And you know, the putting has taken a step forward, and it's clear that his mentality is in a good spot as well. I think he's in a spot in his career where he's a little bit, more disciplined with his decision making, club selection, all those types of things. I like his process, and his swing is just buttery. So I think he's a underrated pick for this week. I think he's going to be right there in the mix come Sunday. I feel really, really good about that.
Good pick. Yeah, a lot of these guys like Homa's gonna win one at some point.
Yeah.
I'm confident that people people like to make jokes about it, but Xander Schauffele is gonna win something at some point.
Yeah.
He's too good of a player not to. We obviously know about John Rahm. DeChambeau's game, the last time we saw him, was in really good form. Morikawa's has a track record. I think my plan originally was if he was available on my wild card pick, I would take Ludwig Aubert. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with that.
Yeah.
Again, I think he's a really kind of elite ball striker. He was tied for the lead going into the back nine at Augusta. It's weird because I'm going to have a former Texas star and a former Texas Tech star on my little roster here, but I don't care. He was okay. Well, this I didn't know. He was forced to pull out of this past week's Wells Fargo with some kind of knee injury. So maybe I want to reconsider. I don't really know I'm not up to speed on the status of his health. I'll just stick with it, and if we hear on like Wednesday that he's not going to play or whatever, then I'll pick someone else.
Well, I think in this case it's a special scenario. So if you want to, make a contingency pick in case he withdraws like day one, you can.
Okay. Aubert with a contingency plan of DeChambeau.
Okay.
That's what I'll go with.
All right. So it's set then. Okay. So my picks: Rory. Let's see. Rory, Cam Smith, Ben On,
Akshay
Bhatia, and then Billy Horschel with a wild card selection of Max Homa. You went with Scheffler,
Clark,
Wyndham Clark,
Sahith Theegala,
Sepp Straka, and then your last pick, Keith Mitchell.
with Ludwig Aubert, although if that injury is really something, it might be Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me put a rule on that contingency pick. Oh, we'll say like if he withdraws day one or day two, we'll let you have the contingency.
Yeah, because if he were to withdraw on day 3 and DeChambeau's in the lead, that wouldn't be really fair.
All right. I think that's fair. All right. Cool.
Okay. And we need to write that down because that rule will apply in future major championships.
Right. All right. So I feel like that went pretty well.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all watching. We're going to continue to, do this for just about every major championship moving forward. So stay tuned for all 4 majors. We have the U.S. Open here in about a month, and then the Open Championship about a month after that. We might even do this for the Olympics. We haven't really talked about that yet, but that could be something interesting we do.
Yeah, and in our next major championship episode, when we potentially have more time on our hands, maybe, hopefully, maybe we can go the full hour and discuss the second season of Full Swing, which I still haven't watched yet, but I'm planning to watch here in the near future. I will have watched it before the U.S. Open, guaranteed. So,
so the only thing for me is I'm kind of forced to have to buy Netflix for a month because I got cut off from my dad's Netflix. I don't live with my dad, but yeah, I think it'll be worth doing. Just buying Netflix for a month. So I'll do that before our next major championship episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we don't really have the Ryder Cup this year, right? So
yeah, it's President's Cup this year.
Maybe we'll do something for that, but if not, we'll have something related to like last year we were going to do some kind of like golfers tiers. I don't know if we'll do that or something related to that. We'll see. That's a long way away down the road. But make sure you keep an eye out for Deep in the Heart of Longhorn Sports tomorrow night. And then for the rest of the week, it's going to potentially be pretty quiet, unfortunately, here on the channel. There's a chance I might do a solo episode on Thursday just because the NFL schedule comes out on Wednesday night.
Right.
And there could be other things that break between here and then. So there's a chance for a solo episode Thursday, but it wouldn't be until Monday that we have our next live show on the channel after tomorrow night. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night. We got some good stuff for you guys. Anything else before we go?
Well, same thing I said earlier. Just I'm hoping for a little bit of a closer tournament. It's not like the Masters was like disappointing, but it definitely, with how the back nine went, with some of the other guys fading away, then Scotty taking control of it. It definitely wasn't the most like edge of your seat type of Masters. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're still waiting for edge of your seat major championship. We want those. So hope you guys all enjoy the PGA Championship. Again, make sure you turn in tomorrow for Deep in the Heart of Longhorn Sports. That will be around 9 or 9:30, I think. And then, until then, peace out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Peace.